All right, well, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Beyond ERP. We're very lucky to have a distinguished guest, Cedric Carter, joining us today. Renowned for his dynamic professional journey, Cedric boasts a robust profile and a wealth of experience in guiding organizations towards unprecedented success. A couple feathers in his cap, I'm not going to lie. We're being modest, to say the least. Cedric is a guru of sorts. Join us as we unravel the insights, strategies, and wisdom Cedric has accumulated throughout his journey. I'm very fortunate to work with Cedric and his team over at Ethos Business Solutions. He has brought and continues to bring a wealth of knowledge in digital solutions, organizational leadership. We'll dive into his background, his experience, all things technical management. Cedric, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Man, what an intro. I'm gonna need you to send me that. I mean, distinguished
You
guru.
have to have that at like, as people go into your office, or even your family probably should hear this.
I know. Man, they will be watching this. I'm like, hey, listen, guys, I've been telling y'all for years. Here's the proof. No, thank you. Really excited to be here. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's an honor.
Absolutely.
I too really enjoy working with you guys as well. So thank you.
Yeah. It's great to see you again, Cedric. Yeah.
Yes, likewise.
So you can use that for your bio, I guess, on LinkedIn as well.
I know,
That's
right?
where we got it from. Thanks to ChatGPT. Anyhow, just a quick intro. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe you could provide an overview of NetSuite and the role it has in digital solutions for businesses. Starting off.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. Just a little bit about myself. I didn't start out my ERP journey like right out of college or anything like that, like a lot of other folks. Do have a technical background. I think I graduated from DeVry University. Their tagline at the time was, "If you're serious about your success." Well, a 17-year-old high school graduate was not serious about their success, but I made it. I got through. Wound up in Phoenix, Arizona, and while I was in school, got a job with UPS loading and unloading boxes, and wanted to quit every single day. Fast forward 15 years later, it was a career, not load and unload boxes. Did a lot of other things through that. And that was my time at UPS was the first time that I actually got exposed to this idea of ERP. I had a role at one time, what was called a customer automation manager, where I got to work with UPS clients and helping them integrate UPS technology into their ERP systems, which was really kind of cool. Really enjoyed that. So that was my first taste of, let's just say, consulting at that time. And spent a lot of time in business development, the technical side, also operations. Learned a lot, and decided to go into consulting back in, wow, 2006. Moved to the DFW area and went to work for an Oracle consulting firm. So it was where I, kind of learned the lay of the land of true ERP consulting. So let's just say Oracle, JD Edwards, different breed. Those are some massive implementations. You're dealing with tier one ERP systems. So learned a lot there. And then transitioned into NetSuite in beginning of 2012, which had a run there, and learned all about NetSuite. So a little bit about my background. I've been doing this for a really long time. Had the opportunity to be a co-founder and one NetSuite organization, and of course founded Ethos. But to answer your question about overview of NetSuite, I mean, I'll give you the kind of the sales pitch, right? NetSuite, it's a comprehensive ERP, right? Comprehensive business management solution for businesses. It's going to take care of your complete ERP needs, from CRM to financial management, even human capital management here. So it does everything that small to medium size and even enterprise organizations need. And their role in today's digital landscape is, man, it's your source of truth, right? Because there's a lot of tools out there nowadays. Everybody's got something in the cloud. But NetSuite is going to serve as your source of truth for all things operational and things that you're doing within your business.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've seen it evolved a little bit over the years. Any more recent, features and things that might have evolved?
Oh my gosh. Man, I remember back when NetSuite, the layout that we see today wasn't the layout that we started with, back in 2006. I remember that was a really big deal. And it actually, I think, helped, right? This isn't so much, I would say functional aspect, but people are funny. You got your people that like Apple versus Android, and and I felt like, NetSuite kind of transitioned to recognize that we're visual, right? People are visual and they want it, even though the system worked extremely functional, but changing that layout, I mean, I'll tell you, it was a game changer.
Yeah.
The other thing I've seen is, say Suite Success, right? We're all very familiar with it. One of the things that they've done is become more industry focused, right? They've got all these different verticals. And while they've had those verticals were more around experience and expertise and not so much what what the system did. Well, now you've got specific modules that are taking care of, HR payroll, you've got your retail space, you've got your manufacturing space, right? You've got footwear and apparel and different. And so there's different modules that play with the overall NetSuite space. So definitely those are some of the big changes that I've seen over the years that NetSuite's doing.
Yeah, I mean, certainly an evolution. In just 2012, we couldn't get CIOs to understand or believe in the cloud to
Right?
now where everybody, you got to have NetSuite experience as a rite of passage to make it
Yeah.
ladder.
For
I was going to
sure.
ask, as far as NetSuite and just effective organizational leadership, we touched on, and you noted just Suite Success, but really was hoping you could maybe shed some light, especially with your UPS background, and we've been fortunate to work with you with just operational excellence. What is the balance? How can leaders maybe maintain a balance between technology and the human element in leadership?
Mm. Man, I think that's a great question, because especially what's happened here, I would say in the last 5 to 10 years, you've got all these different tools. You've got a tremendous amount of access to data that you've never had before. Now, as leaders, we got to figure out, what do we do with that data,
Right.
right? There's always, you've got some more organizations, they want to run around a hammer and they just start pounding everything that pops up. Well, that's not the way. I would say that how leaders can use this from an organizational leadership perspective is that when you've got an ERP system like NetSuite, now you can let the system will run your business. Right? It's going to run 90% or more of what you're doing, right? You're not doing there's some secret sauce that you're going to manage. So now you don't have to spend kind of the brain power and the time and the resources associated with just the day-to-day, we'll call them mundane tasks that the system
Yeah.
can do. Now, as a leader, you get to focus on what's important, leading and driving your organization, right? You get to focus on that vision. You get to focus on your people and what do your people need in order, not just from what do my people need in order to do their jobs day to day, but along the way, how can I coach and develop them to where it's beneficial to them and it's beneficial to the organization?
Yeah. And it is interesting from a bird's eye view, looking at how all ERPs, NetSuite specifically, just plays as our country, other countries go through the different macroeconomic trends, whether it's the scarcity of resources, too many resources. So I was hoping maybe you could shed a little bit more light on just, you noted how the system will largely do most of kind of behind the scenes operational steps. What about decision making? How is an ERP application like NetSuite going to help somebody in the C-suite make a decision on, should I be buying more, selling more product, how I'm doing as an organization? Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's key. And I think most people, right, they're thinking about it the right way. If they're looking to make a significant investment by implementing an ERP system, that's what they want. They're looking, they want some help in making decisions. As leaders, right? We don't know it all. We have a gut feel, particularly when you're dealing with someone that's been in organizations at the C-suite. A lot of entrepreneurs, they know their business really well. They think they got it figured out, but a lot of times it's just gut feel, right? And they go, oh, well, this worked this time. Well, now guess what? You've got data, you've got a system that if you're using it properly, you're tracking everything that's kind of coming in and out of your system. And you've got data to be able to look at trends and look at some analytics. And one of the things that NetSuite is doing now is you've got predictive analytics in some areas, particularly around procurement. So now it's, do I need to be buying as much as I'm buying? Or oftentimes what we've found is when companies implement NetSuite, they're surprised. In some cases, they're alarmed that, oh my gosh, I bought this much, or we sold this much, or we did this over this period of time. And so it's now giving them some real data to support their gut feelings. So now, because the data doesn't always tell the whole story.
Yeah.
Right. That's just one piece of it. But at least now you've kind of got your gut feel, you've got your experience and your knowledge of a particular industry, and you've got real data to support those decisions much faster than you ever would have had in the past.
I would agree. I mean, almost in every implementation, we're effectively doing a mini audit, if you will, of everything behind the scenes. And it's shocking every single time. It's like,
oh, yeah.
Hey, where'd this $2 million of excess inventory come from? It's like, probably should have gotten that.
Yeah, very often.
We don't tout that little mini audit is beneficial in your implementation as well.
Definitely. And can you share some examples of businesses that have successfully integrated NetSuite into their strategic planning? Maybe you have some examples.
Yeah, I would love to say that every implementation that I've been a part of, has gained that. But let's be real. If I'd said that, my nose would start growing here on camera. But I can share a recent example of a company that's in the electronics reuse space.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times in that particular space, what you'll find is that you've got a lot of entrepreneurs in that space. And man, they figured something out, how to bring in a bunch of devices and refurbish them and sell them out in the aftermarket or scrap them or use the pieces. And there's not a lot of structure in that industry. And so what you find is you got some people that are using some bits and pieces of, say, a QuickBooks, or maybe they've got an ERP. They're not using its full capabilities. And what I'm stating here, this was that case. Bringing in devices. Yeah, they kind of had an idea what was out there by walking out in the back and kind of looking around and going, okay, that's about 50,000 devices. Maybe going back and marry it up against a purchase order that was on an Excel spreadsheet. So nothing is tied together, and they had some very complex business operational processes to where they're receiving these devices and cleaning them up. In some cases, these devices became something else, right? But there's no record of that anywhere except for in someone's head or on a piece of paper that who knows where that piece of paper ends up. I'll fast forward now after implementing NetSuite. Now, and this is, I hate to sound like a commercial or a tagline that you're going to read online, but it's real, right? There's real-time visibility into their inventory. There's real-time visibility into their purchasing. Now they have the analytics that they need in order to go, okay, is it time to buy? Hey, what's moving quickly, or what do we need to stop buying? Or am I paying the right price for this item? Now, all of that doesn't happen overnight, mind you, but that's where we're headed now, because this is a very recent implementation. But just that visibility and that insight into your spending, into your inventory, and more accurate financials, faster financials, right? And this is a business that was looking to, they were growing very fast, and they're looking to scale. And if you're going to scale and you're going to do other things, man, you got to, right? That oftentimes requires funding. Right? So if you're going to get funding, you need accurate financials. You need solid business processes, spreadsheets, Word documents, word of mouth. in Bob's head out in the back of the warehouse isn't going to cut it. So putting all that together now with NetSuite has allowed them to be able to do some of those things.
Yeah, and from there, it's measurable, any significant, results from there, they can measure now, right?
That's
So,
right. That's right.
I was going to hope we could maybe pull out the crystal ball really quick and ask you for some what you're seeing in the future. Could you share maybe just a couple of trends that you're starting to identify over the next 12 months that outside of just NetSuite, you're thinking is going to change the landscape? And same vein, anything you may be excited for that NetSuite's rolling out in the next couple of months, or 2 releases, if you will?
Oh, man, I'll tell you, and I'm not going to tell you anything that I'm sure you guys don't already know. All you got to do is pick up your phone and look at some feed or turn on the news. It is artificial intelligence. And the buzz started around artificial intelligence. I mean, at least in the NetSuite space, probably 5-6 years ago, there was some buzz, but I don't think any of us really knew what that meant or what are we going to do with it, and is it real? But now that you've got players out there with chat GPT, Dolly, what is it, Bard, all that. And I'll tell you, I got chat GPT up all day, every day, and then there's all these other tools that are out there. So where my head is, and I'm sure there's many others thinking this way, is what are we going to do with this? How do we capitalize on this? How do we do what we do better using those tools? So I look at a crystal ball. That's what I see. There's this race to who can get there first. And you ask about some of the releases. I see that NetSuite and some of the news articles that I read and some of the calls I've been on. They're trying to get there. And and it's all around analytics. Because we've always had the data. That's the great thing about an ERP system, right? They've got all the data. They don't necessarily have to try to connect anywhere else. It's already there. So I think NetSuite is in a great position to be able to utilize artificial intelligence to provide just some insights that maybe we won't look at, some correlation. Because even today with an ERP system, a lot of companies are still utilizing data analysts. And they've got people that are pulling stuff, digging stuff. And usually they're not forward thinking. They're pulling stuff that people are asking for. And it's taken them a long time to do it. So with artificial intelligence, man, artificial intelligence now can go out and just kind of look at who's searching for what, who's correlating what data, something that maybe I didn't even think of, and pulling all this data together and giving me some useful insights to help me make better decisions.
Yeah. No, that's when everything first started coming out, I think one of my buddies noted like ChatGPT is going to revolutionize. You're going to remember the date it came out. I laughed in his face, and here we are. But the integration side, I mean, you think how realistic, foreseeable future is iPaaS going to be around much longer? Or do you think there's?
Oh, wow.
Do you think? I mean, with Oracle OCI, they've got the data. I mean, realistically, connecting to now Shopify different, but a fringe solution with API, tables out there doesn't seem that far off, right?
I don't think so. We're moving there so quickly. That's one of the things that you see with all of these cloud-based technology is it's easy to access, it's easy to use, and it's easy to integrate. So I think that the next level is exactly what you're talking about, right? Do we even need these middleware solutions anymore, right? The way we did, because well, now can I just kind of put it in until, whatever AI or machine learning tool that, hey, I want to do this, connect to this and do this, and here's the data points, and I want to do this, and boom, there it is, you're done. I think we're probably a ways off from that, but I think that's where we're headed. I do think that's absolutely where we're headed, but we're ways. It's just kind of like you look at the electric car. It's been around so long. Now technology is moving faster every year, right? Exponentially faster every year. So I say far off. Today it's far off, but next year we may be saying, oh, we got a year before this happens.
Well, hopefully we
Should
don't
be ready.
have any folks from Sligo or Boomy listening to this part of the segment.
But you know, they could jump on that. You know, I think they could jump. They could go. You know what? We're going to shift.
Boomy had some release recently where that's what they were touting, and I think forward-looking statements, but that's the future. Easy integration at your fingertips. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Could you imagine just talking, just saying, hey, whatever, right? We're typing it in right now, but just talking to whatever, just natural language and telling it, go do this, connect to this and do this. And yeah, next level.
Yeah.
I love to see the day.
Well, we often like to ask kind of, a couple of individuals that may have been mentors in your past or books that you're reading that you'd like to share with the audience. Anything you'd like to maybe cover there, just so we can get a general sense into the mind of Cedric?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad you asked that. I got a book that I just finished reading not too long ago, and it's called "God is My CEO." And by no means, right? Not trying to push my faith on anyone, but I'm a man of faith, and that's very important to me. And I lead my business that way, and so I think that's a really good book. And there's another one that I read quite some time ago, but I'm about to start reading it again. I'm a big John Maxwell fan, and I read "Good Leaders Ask Great Questions," and I think that one resonates really well as you guys were asking questions about leadership and how can we use the tools to lead our organizations and have more time. That is a really good book for to help you engage with not just leaders in general, but also just with your people. Just sit, ask really good questions, listen, right? And being able to respond appropriately and genuinely care. So those are two of my faves there that I'm reading. And I'm always reading articles, trying to stay up on the newest technology. Guys, I'm not an expert in anything these days. I just know stuff, and just like to be able to carry a conversation with people. So I'm always doing those things.
Well, Cedric, we really appreciate you joining us today. To our audience, this concludes a truly enlightening episode of Beyond ERP. At NewWatch, we specialize in guiding businesses through the transformation, optimization of NetSuite ERP applications. Cedric is in a very similar ecosystem. We work very closely together. Can't speak highly enough of his experience, his leadership. So please reach out to Cedric. We'll include his LinkedIn contact information below, as well as a list of books. Thank you all for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue unraveling the journeys and wisdom of exceptional business leaders. Thank you, Cedric. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Great visiting with y'all.